We are working on angle bisectors. So this one, we've talked about angle bisectors. It's where it's cut into two equal pieces. And this time it's giving us the expressions within the angles. So knowing that this is an angle bisector, that means that we know we can take this piece and set them equal to each other, right? So it's just back to the algebra we've been doing. So we take the first expression, set it equal to the second expression, and then we solve it. So I always use don't call me after midnight. There is no distributive property. I can't combine anything on the left. I can't combine anything on the right. Now I'm talking about separate sides of the equal sign. I'm going to move the smaller variable. So to get rid of 2t, I'm going to subtract 2t. And that leaves me 19 equals 4t minus 13. Then we're going to get rid of the addition or subtraction next to the variable. So instead of subtracting 13, we're going to add 13. It gets us 32 equals 4t. And then the last thing we have to do is get rid of the multiplication or division next to the variable. So that's what that means. So we're going to divide by 4. And that gets us t equals 8. So if you look at your question here, it says find the value of t in the diagram shown. So we're just going to go ahead and put 8, and then you have to hit this check mark so it knows you got the first part right before you move on to the second part. And then it says, what is the measure of the bisected angle in the diagram? So that means, what is the measure of the entire angle? That's what it's asking. What is the measure of the bisected angle? This is what was bisected or cut in half, right? So that means if we take the 8 and substitute it in here, we're going to know that part. And then we know that these two pieces are equal, so we would just double it, right? So I'm going to go with either one of these. It really doesn't matter. 2t looks easier because we're just doubling things. And you could always put it into both if that makes you feel better. Make sure that they're equal. So again, 2 times 8 is 16. And 16 plus 19 is going to get me 35. So that means that this side's 35. And that means this side should also be 35. And when we add those together, that would get us 70. Now, again, you could be super careful and go ahead and plug it into both of them and make sure that's right. So if you want to do that, we can do that. 6 times 8 minus 13, right? So 6 times 8 is 48. Minus 13 is 35. And then you would just add those two together. Okay. So 35 plus 35, just to make sure I didn't make any errors. And then check mark. Okay. So if you're pretty confident that you substituted it in and you know that this answer was right, then you don't need to do the second one. But it's totally up to you, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. Okay. Let's look at another one. So this one here, it says find the value of n. So again, this is an angle, it's bisected. We know that these both sides are equal to each other, so we set them equal to each other. And we just do the steps. There's no distributive property. I can't combine on the left or right of the equal sign. I'm going to move my smaller variables. So I'm going to subtract 3n. So if we're talking proofs, that would be subtraction property of equality. And then this would also be addition property of equality. It kind of flip-flops because it's subtracting, but we're going to add. So you could say it's addition property of equality because we're adding on both sides. And then this would be division property of equality because we're dividing. So as we keep going through, if you start seeing proofs, that is what it's asking, is just like, why are we doing these things? So again, this one, let's read the question again. It wants the value of n. So n is 6. Check it. It won't let you move on if you don't. And then it says, what is the measure of each congruent angle? So again, there's that word congruent meaning equal. So that means I'm just going to substitute this in. 3 times 6 plus 10. Well, that would be 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 10 gets me 28. And again, you can substitute in here if you want. So 6 times 6 is 36. And again, you don't have to do this one if you're pretty confident. And it would be 28. But again, they're both going to be equal because it's bisected. And you already know they're congruent. So it's up to you if you want to do that extra piece or not. Okay. This question looks a little bit different. Let's see what it's got here. So let's find the value of C in the diagram shown. So here's C. Oh, nope, here's C, right? So don't be careful there. It's not asking for the measurement of the angle. It wanted lowercase c, not uppercase c. And it says, note figure may not be drawn to scale. Okay, so we know the angles are congruent, and we know these sides are congruent, which then means that this is a perpendicular bisector. So that means that these two sides are also going to be congruent, right? The opposite sides. So again, 5c plus 43 equals 8c plus 22. And don't call me after midnight. There's no distributive property. I can't combine on the left or the right. Now we're going to go through the equal sign, move the smaller variable. So subtraction property of equality is leaving me with 8 minus 5 is 3. And then subtraction property of equality. So we're going to do 43 minus 22 is 21. And then division property of equality, we're going to divide by 3. So that tells us that C equals 7. And again, if you wanted to make sure you were right, you could plug them in. And as long as it comes out to the answers are equal, then you know you've got it right. Okay. So this whole section is all about setting up your congruent sides and being able to solve them. Ooh, this one looks a little different. Let's see. All right, it says find the value of U in the diagram. So we want the value of U, and it tells us that BAD is 2U plus 20. So measure of BAD is 2U plus 20. And DAC is 36. So again, it's telling us the angles are congruent. So that means we set them equal to each other. So it just showed it in a little bit different visual. Subtraction property of equality, and then division property of equality. So U equals 8. And that's what it wanted, was the measure of U. And then it wants the measure of BAC. So BAC, it's not this one, it's not this one. So BAC is the entire thing, right? Well, if we already know that this side is 36, then this side has to be 36. So you could just do 36 times 2, which gets me 72. Or you know what U is, you can play it safe and you can plug it in. But it just depends on what you understand here. So 8 times 2 is 16, plus 20 is 36. And then 36 and 36 is 72. Okay. So again, you might see things shown a little bit different. Just make sure you're really paying attention to what the question's asking you for. And if you need more help with solving these equations, just let me know. We can get on a one-to-one and we can go from there. So let's do one more. This one says BAD is 9V minus 21. And BAC, so BAC, the whole thing is 156. So this one is a little bit different, right? So it's saying BAC is 156. So we need to find what this other side's going to be. So that means we have 9V minus 21 plus something we don't know, right? The other side. But we know that the other side is equal to the 9V minus 21. So doesn't that mean we have double of that? So we could do this and it equals 156, right? Because we know they're going to equal each other. And then don't call me after midnight, right? So we have two 9V minus 21s. We know that they're congruent to each other. So we can set it up this way since we know the total. D is distribute, so that's going to get us 18V minus, because remember, a negative times positive is a negative, 42. And then I can't combine here. There's only one number here. And then we're going to move the smaller variable. There's none of that. So we distributed. Now we're going to get rid of the addition or subtraction. So we're going to add 42. So 156 plus 42 is 198. And then we're going to do division property of equality. So divide it by 18 and V equals 11. And this first one wants what V is. So let's see. There we go. So don't make the mistake of like trying to add V. Like V wasn't the entire angle. So we doubled it because we know that they're going to be congruent. So there's two of them. And then it wants to know what is the measure of BAD. So this one here, well, we know V is 11. So we'll just substitute in here. 9 times 11 minus 21. That would be 99 minus 21, which gets us 78. So the measure of that angle is 78. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions or you need more information, just let me know and we'll meet for some one-on-one time. Other than that, 10 points, get more math.